Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to Who'd Win and Why. And this time we've got Scorpion going up against Ghost Rider. Now, both of these characters love to play with fire, and they're both pretty dang good at it. But today it's time for me to decide who I feel will win in a one-on-one battle to the death between these two fiery fighters. So, who'd win and why? Let's find out. So first I'm going to talk about Scorpion. Now in terms of physical pure brute strength, Scorpion doesn't really use this a lot to his advantage on the battlefield, but that doesn't mean he's not strong. He's actually quite strong. He's strong enough to rip someone's head and spine out of their body, which I'm assuming is not easy to do, and he can casually rip off limbs of many different Mortal Kombat characters. And remember, we're not talking about regular humans here. We're talking about characters like sorcerers and demons and even cyborgs. So he might not use his strength a lot on the battlefield, but that doesn't mean he's not strong, because in comparison to a regular person, he's pretty dang strong. When it comes to speed, on the other hand, it's a completely different story. Being a ninja, obviously, he can use his speed and reflexes and agility and his teleportation ability very well on the battlefield. He uses it to dodge attacks and attack in very quick succession, so he uses his speed a lot and very well on the battlefield. He can even use his teleportation ability to teleport himself and other characters to the Netherrealm. The Netherrealm is technically the source of Scorpion's power, which means that the longer he's there, the more his stats and his power will actually increase. And that's pretty handy if he finds himself in a pickle. In terms of durability, Scorpion is actually completely immune to physical death. There is nothing physically that can actually kill Scorpion. And this is obviously because technically Scorpion is already dead after being killed by the original Sub-Zero. And, while he's definitely not immortal, I mean, his soul is far from untouchable, on the physical side of things, you might as well consider him immortal, because you won't be able to kill him that way. And this might go without saying, but, Scorpion is obviously completely immune to fire. And in terms of stamina, well, Scorpion doesn't really seem to tire on the battlefield, essentially allowing him to fight for as long as he wants. And, knowing Scorpion, that'll mean until he kills his opponents. So, yeah. In terms of actual fighting styles, Scorpion knows many different fighting styles. Obviously, he knows ninjutsu. I mean, he is a ninja. But he's also exceptionally skilled in many others, including Pai Gua, Hapkido, and other Chinese martial arts that are actually unknown to the rest of the world, making him a very versatile and very strong fighter, especially when you factor in his other weapons and abilities, which I'll get into right now. In terms of his weaponry, obviously he has his kunai and a rope, which I'm sure a lot of you guys already knew about. That's like his signature weapon, and he can use this to impale an opponent from a very far distance away, and he can even pull them closer and uppercut them, which is one of Scorpion's signature moves, and he can even summon not one, but twin swords out of the air, like some of them out of thin air, and use those with high proficiency, which are very easy for quick decapitations. Now, in terms of his abilities, obviously, this is like fire. Scorpion uses fire a lot to his advantage. He's all about fire. He can summon fire and manipulate fire in many different ways, including being able to spit fire, set himself on fire, set other people on fire, shoot fire blasts, shoot fireballs, and even incorporate fire into some of his regular attacks, meaning he's able to do like a fire hell punch and a fire backflip kick and a fire uppercut. So he's very versatile in terms of being able to control fire. And obviously, if any of you guys have played Mortal Kombat, you'll know that Scorpion can do a ton of different fatalities and brutalities. Now, I'm not going to go over all of them, just like when I had Johnny Cage when he fought Bane. I'm not going to go over all of the fatalities he can do. That would just be way too tedious, it would take too long, and I just feel that's kind of unnecessary. However, just know that Scorpion can kill his opponent and finish off his opponent in many different ways. Some of his fatalities include, I believe this is his signature one, which is called Toasty, where he can take off his mask, revealing his true face, which just so happens to be a skull, and he can roast his opponent alive. And some of his other fatalities include, as I said before, being able to rip someone's head and spine out of their body, and he can even finish off his opponent by turning into a literal giant scorpion, or in some cases a penguin. So I mean, that's pretty cool. But no, in terms of his weaknesses, on the physical side of things, Scorpion really doesn't have any physical weaknesses, especially when he goes to the Netherrealm, as his stats and power can keep increasing. But mentally, he's not really the best strategist. I mean, you don't really have to be the best strategist when you can't really die physically, and he is very knowledgeable in terms of martial arts, obviously, but in terms of actual strategy, he's not the greatest. He generally likes to go in without thinking things through. He's not the smartest in terms of strategy. And while this isn't really considered a weakness, something else that's worth noting about Scorpion is that his win-loss record is not the greatest. It's really not that great at all, despite being a ninja from hell. However, Scorpion is still a badass in every sense of the way. He was a badass ninja before he died, and then after he died, he came back as a badass fire ninja, and, you know, now he's out for revenge. If you cross him, he will take you down, literally take you down to the Nether Realm, and give you a slow and painful death to remember. Alright, so now that I've gone over... now that I've gone over Scorpion, now let's talk about Ghost Rider. So in terms of strength, Ghost Rider is actually very strong. On a normal day, he's able to lift up to like about 25 tons, which is very impressive, like 50,000 pounds. However, his strength can actually increase depending on the circumstance, even to the point where his strength level is basically incalculable. And this is illustrated very well when he's able to take on some very strong characters in the Marvel Universe, such as Hulk and Venom and much more. So he's pretty dang strong. In terms of speed, Scorpion does have enhanced speed and agility and reflexes, but obviously, you know, where he really excels in speed is when he's on his motorcycle. His motorcycle can reach incredible speeds almost instantaneously, and despite having wheels of fire, his motorcycle can ride on water, and he can even ride up buildings and walls. Now, Ghost Rider obviously can't really use his fighting prowess while on the motorcycle, but he can still attack using his chain and his other weapons, so it's not just good for transportation, it's also good for, you know, not getting hit and attacking while on the motorcycle, so it's a pretty handy weapon that he has, or a pretty handy vehicle that he has, I guess I should say. In terms of durability for Ghost Rider actually cannot be harmed physically unless someone uses a holy weapon or a weapon forged in heaven against him. So there's basically nothing on Earth that can actually harm the Ghost Rider. Sometimes, you know, bullets just pass through his body or he's just unaffected by them, but there's no weapon on Earth that can actually harm him. And again, his soul is far from untouchable, but physically, you know, if you don't have a holy weapon, you won't be able to kill him. And even if you do have a holy weapon, that doesn't necessarily mean you'll beat him, as he has a healing factor that can actually protect from fatal injury from holy weapons. So if you have one, you better make sure that you're very proficient and persistent with it, because no matter what you use, it's going to be very hard to put this guy down. And in terms of stamina, obviously, you know, his body does not produce fatigue toxins, giving him unlimited endurance, and he is completely immune to fire. Now, in terms of his fighting skill, he is a very good fighter, but not in the way you might think. Ghost Rider has barely been trained, like, at all. He hasn't really had any formal training in terms of martial arts or anything like that. So, yeah, he's not really the greatest fighter in that kind of sense. He does rely a lot on his strength and his abilities and his weapons for the fighting. He doesn't really, he's more so picked up on his own fighting style, which relies heavily on strength and his abilities. But just because he's not formally trained doesn't mean he's not a beast on the battlefield, because, trust me, he is. Now, in terms of his weaponry, he does have his chain, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys know about. It's an extendable chain that can extend pretty much indefinitely, and it can even morph into other weapons. Another weapon that he has is his double-barrel shotgun, which he doesn't use nearly as much as his chain, but it is still something that he likes to carry around. Another thing worth pointing out is that any weapon that he essentially gets his hands on, he can channel hellfire through, which obviously just makes them leagues more deadly. And in terms of his abilities, obviously, you know, it's not Scorpion, I'm sorry, if I call him Scorpion and I didn't notice, you know I'm talking about Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider can use his fire abilities very well on the battlefield. He can control fire, shoot fire, you know, summon fire, even spit fire. He's even been shown actually controlling some fire, like regular fire, like fire you just find on the earth, not even hellfire. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. And he also has some other abilities, including size manipulation, as he's been shown growing before, interdimensional travel, and the oh-so-powerful penance stare. Now, this penance stare, the way that it works is that he stares into an opponent's eyes, and he essentially makes the victim feel every little bit of pain they've inflicted on other people, which essentially kills them and obliterates their soul. And this is really the main reason why Ghost Rider is called the Spirit of Vengeance. Now, in terms of Ghost Rider's weaknesses, they're actually a lot like Scorpion's. Ghost Rider doesn't have any physical weaknesses unless, you know, you use a holy weapon against him. That's obviously a main weakness of his. But he's not the best in terms of strategy. He doesn't really like to strategize that much. Again, he just goes in relying on his brute strength and his abilities in battle. So he's not really the best strategist. He doesn't think things through a whole lot. And, you know, like I said, he is a very good fighter, you know, using his abilities, but in terms of, like, combat, like actual fighting styles, he really has no combat training, meaning someone who's very proficient in martial arts might be able to trip him up a lot. However, Ghost Rider is still a force to be reckoned with. He is the spirit of vengeance and has more than enough feats and abilities to prove it. Don't cross his path, because if you do, he will eventually grab you, look you right in the eyes, and, burn you from the inside out. Alright, so now that I've gone over both of these characters, it's time for me to decide who would win. And this is actually a pretty interesting fight because both of these characters have a lot of similar attributes, maybe even counters to some of their abilities. For example, both of these characters are completely immune to fire, meaning that the fire attacks that these characters have, or the fire parts of their attacks that they have, would not work on the other character. They would be completely useless. And another counter that Ghost Rider has over Scorpion is that while Scorpion might be able to take Ghost Rider and himself down to the Netherrealm, where Scorpion would be able to get more power, Ghost Rider is interdimensional travel as well, meaning he would just be able to negate that ability and maybe even go some other realm that, Ghost Rider doesn't even know about, some realm in the Marvel Universe. But the most apparent one of all is that neither of these characters can die physically, or at least Scorpion can't die physically, and Ghost Rider can only die physically, if a holy weapon is being used against him, which last time I checked, Scorpion doesn't have. So, how do you judge a fight like this? Well, after looking at everything that these two characters bring to the table, like everything that they have, it becomes more and more clear that there is only one way that a battle to the death would be able to end with these two characters, and that is with Ghost Rider coming out the victor. Because while neither of these characters can die physically, only one of these characters actually has another method of killing the other character, which is by destroying the soul. Because neither of these characters can die physically, but they are not immortal. Both of their souls are still very vulnerable to soul attacking attacks. I don't even know what to call that. But yeah, so only Ghost Rider has anything like that, which of course is the penance stare. All Ghost Rider needs to do is look Scorpion right in the eyes and essentially burn his soul. And remember how the penance stare works. It basically makes the person feel every little bit of pain they've inflicted on other people for all eternity. And, Scorpion is a guy that's inflicted a lot of pain on a lot of people, so that's obviously going to hurt. And there's no way Scorpion has any way to counter this. He doesn't have anything like this in his arsenal of abilities. He doesn't have any soul protecting abilities. So as soon as Ghost Rider gets his hands on him and uses the penance stare on him, Scorpion is dead. It's just as simple as that. And like I said, Scorpion doesn't have anything like this in his own arsenal of weapons, and he doesn't have any arsenal of abilities, and he doesn't have any holy weapons, meaning that he literally has literally no way of killing Ghost Rider. And I'm not trying to make this I'm not saying that this is easy for Ghost Rider to do, because Scorpion can still teleport, which allows him to not just dodge the penance stare, but also a lot of the attacks that Ghost Rider has. So it will be very hard for him to get his hands on him. However, since we're talking about a battle to the death, and we're talking about, who would eventually win in a battle to the death, Ghost Rider using the penance stare on Scorpion is just an eventuality because Scorpion doesn't have any way of killing Ghost Rider. If we're talking about a regular fight where it's not really to the death, then who knows? It would be very hard for Ghost Rider to actually win because, Scorpion can still use his ninja skills and teleportation. But in terms of a battle to the death, again, it is just an eventuality. The short truth is Scorpion doesn't have any way of killing Ghost Rider, and Ghost Rider does have a way of killing Scorpion. Now, for some people who are watching this video, this might be enough reasoning for you. You guys might just want to, leave the video. You've already heard my opinions, and you already know who I think would win this battle. But for any of you guys who are still interested in learning more about these characters, let's ignore the fact that both of these characters, are essentially physically immortal. And let's look at the advantages that each character has over the other. Because it's actually really cool because each of them actually have an even amount of advantages over the other, both Scorpion and Ghost Rider. Now, in all fairness, there are some advantages where it's really hard to call, some categories where it's really hard to call who has the advantages, such as durability and endurance and, even experience and intelligence. But there are some categories that each character has over the other. Like in terms of Scorpion's advantages, some of you guys might disagree with me on this, but I would probably say Scorpion has the speed advantage. Because, Scorpion at his fastest can teleport, and Ghost Rider at his fastest can use the motorcycle. Now, while Scorpion's teleportation is not instantaneous, I do still feel that it's better than Ghost Rider, simply because, he can teleport any distance he wants to, even, to other realms, and, it would probably be much easier for sneaking up on the opponent and dodging attacks attacks rather than Ghost Rider's motorcycle. Ghost Rider's motorcycle is still good for dodging attacks, but I just feel that Scorpion's would be a bit better. And just looking at how they fight, their fighting speed, Scorpion does seem to use his speed a lot better in battle, his speed and reflexes and agility and his teleportation. He uses it a lot better in terms of combat than Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider likes to rely a lot on his fire abilities and his strength. So I would probably give a slight edge to Scorpion in terms of speed. The other advantage that I would give Scorpion is fighting skill. Some of you probably already saw this coming. Scorpion is, he knows a lot of different martial arts. He knows some martial arts that are unknown to the rest of the world. Whereas, Ghost Rider, he's mostly self-taught. He doesn't really rely on a lot of martial arts because he hasn't had any training with them. So, yeah, I would definitely give Scorpion the advantage in terms of fighting skill. Ghost Rider isn't completely outclassed here, as he is still a beast on the battlefield, but to someone like Scorpion, Ghost Rider might be a bit more predictable, as he has had no formal combat training. But those are only the advantages that Scorpion has over Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider does have his fair share of advantages as well, one of the more notable ones being strength. Now, Scorpion can do some very impressive things in terms of strength. Like I said, he can casually rip off limbs of many different Mortal Kombat characters, and pull someone's head and spine out of their body. But, what Ghost Rider can do is just ridiculous. He can lift up to 25 tons on a normal day, like on a bad day, which is, 50,000 pounds, which is more than I would think Scorpion would be able to lift. But again, that's only on a normal day. Depending on the circumstance, Ghost Rider's strength can rise to, like, ridiculous levels. Like, he's been able to go toe-to-toe with and even beat down the Hulk. And I don't care how much Hellfire Ghost Rider can use, he's going to need a lot more strength than 25 tons of lifting power in order to beat down the Hulk. I mean, remember, we're talking about a guy that's actually, like, his healing factor has been stated to be arguably better than Wolverine's. So I would definitely give Ghost Rider the strength advantage here. And in terms of versatility, I would also give Ghost Rider that advantage. Because, everything that Scorpion can do with fire, again, this doesn't really matter a lot because, both of these characters are immune to fire, but I'm just, again, like, just spitballing stuff here. Because, I just feel that everything Scorpion can do with fire, I feel Ghost Rider could do it as well. Summon fire, spit fire, shoot fire. He has great control over his own hellfire. And he's even been shown, controlling fire, just from the earth, not even hellfire, just regular fire. So, in terms of that, I would say that Ghost Rider does have the versatility advantage, and he even seems to have some other abilities, like I said, including the penance stare and size manipulation. And in terms of weaponry, I mean, he has a chain that can morph into different weapons, so I do feel that he has the advantage over Scorpion in terms of weaponry, because Scorpion only really has twin swords and his kunai and a rope. But, so yeah, you see that both of these characters, neither one is really outclassed completely. Because both of these characters do have a lot of advantages, or some advantages over the other. So it's actually pretty even in terms of the advantages. However, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Overall, both of these characters are very powerful, and both of them are very hard to put down. But when you have one character that can kill the other character, and the other character can't kill the other character, hopefully you followed that along well enough. But yeah, if one character can kill one character, but the one character cannot kill the other one character, then you already know where it's going to go. And while it might take a very long time for Ghost Rider to get his hands on Scorpion, he will eventually do it, look him right in the eyes, and Scorpion will be put down once again. So, in my opinion, the winner is the Ghost Rider. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I did. I know it was just like another battle where, one can't be killed by one and the other can, which, some of those aren't as interesting, but I do still like this fight. I'm generally a big fan of, like, the fiery characters like Scorpion and Ghost Rider. So, I enjoyed, looking at what these characters brought to the table, and I enjoyed this fight. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please give this video a huge like. I always appreciate the likes. Comment down below what you thought of it. If you think that Scorpion will win, if you think, somehow he's able to take down Ghost Rider, let me know. Tell me in the comments, because I always like to know more about these characters. And, if I got something wrong, or if I just missed something, you can tell me that down in the comments below as well. And if you could subscribe to my channel, guys, that'd be so great. That would really help my channel out. I try to make these videos as quickly as I possibly can. Obviously, now that school started, it's very difficult to do that, and I'm gonna still try to do it as quickly as possible. But yeah, so this is essentially what I do, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. If you're new, yeah, just hit that subscribe button. But, your view is plenty of contribution reaction anyway. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. You guys are what makes me want to make these videos more. So thank you guys so much. And next time on Who Would Win and Why, we've got a Fantastic Four Battle Royale. Mr. Fantastic versus Invisible Woman versus Human Torch versus The Thing. This is the Season 8 mid-season finale. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. See you all then.